In my demo, I have a small application, nothing special, just a very simple API, which returns a list of times in specific time zones. I can remove one, and I think Copilot will be able to do a nice commit message, and I can commit and push that into GitHub. Let's go into that repository. Because what I've done, I've created a few GitHub Action pipelines. And as you can see, by creating a branch and pushing that into GitHub, already a pipeline started that creates me a dev environment. So for every branch that I push, it will create me an environment in Azure and deploy my application. So that I have a quick way to test the application in Azure. And every time I push a commit to the branch, it will actually be redeployed on top of that environment so I can easily test it in a dev environment in Azure. Another thing that I can do is also create a pull request on that same branch. So let's do that. And if we then go back into the GitHub Actions, and we refresh it a bit, you will see that again another action starts, and whenever someone creates a pull request, then a new environment is also created, but this time it's an environment of type test. So that is probably more for a test engineer to do some testing during the PR to verify the change that you did on your work. So you can see that it's easy to integrate the tooling in that, and let's see what it actually looks like in a pipeline. So for example, let's look at the pipeline that does the actual create. Most of the stuff is obviously just standard GitHub action pipeline stuff that you would normally also use. The only thing here is that we don't directly use the commands that we normally would to deploy Bicep or to deploy Terraform, but this time we used the Azure CLI and then the Dev Center plugin to create ourselves a new environment of a specific type. So we are using the same tooling that's also being used by the portal to create environments, and by doing that we can specify obviously to what Dev Center we need to do the deployment, what's the environment definition, what is the catalog name, what's the item that we actually want to deploy, what's the environment type that we want to deploy. Those things we can pass into the CLI, and then the environment will be created. And then of course you can do nice things like when the deployment of the infrastructure finished, we will deploy the actual application, so that in the PR we get a new test environment, the application is being deployed on top of that, and last but not least, we can create a comment on our PR to get the link of the resource created in Azure, but also get a link to the application that is now also deployed in Azure. So that the one reviewing your PR can click the link and test the application before he or she actually approves the actual change in the code. And to show you what it looks like, I also created one yesterday because it takes a bit of time to deploy the application, etc. So this is what such a message might look like. The resource created in Azure can be found here. The actual deployed API can be found here. And hopefully that actually still works, because at least one of the demos actually does work. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so of course you can do all these things with the tools that you were already used to, right? You can just deploy Bicep, Terraform, whatever in the pipeline, and do these PR comments and whatever. There's nothing new. The new thing is that we now have a single system that allows you to create these pieces of infrastructure, whether it's dev, test, and production, using the same tooling, exact same underlying infrastructure, those kind of